was going to say good morning, but dawned on me. It's at Sunday after. This is going to be one of the rare instances of you getting something almost immediately after it's recorded. Welcome to the Volume 1, though, of Inside the Wrestleverse. It's where your boy, Mystic Jinn, sits here and talks about things related to wrestling. Now, I'm going to put a bit of a caveat on that just because I'll talk about TNA. I'll talk about WWE. If I see something in Japan that catches my eye, I'll talk about that. For the most part, I'm not going to talk about AEW. And it's not that I have anything against any of the people there at AEW, but some of AEW's fans, like AEW fans, are the cowboy fans of professional wrestling. We don't hate the team. We hate how you act in support of your team or your team is behind. So just going to throw that one out there. Like, you can't say anything constructive, like, constructively critique AEW without everybody losing their damn mind. So, just not going to do it. Don't want them, like, I don't want to deal with it. Not stress that I want to do, like, and that's not to say that I don't watch every now and then. I'm just, like, if I see something stupid, I'm just going to let y'all do some stupid shit. It is what it is. Now, this is Sunday after Bad Blood, so I just want to, like, ultimately we're getting into Bad Blood. Like, that's the whole purpose of me just giving you a random, whatever link this would be, talk about wrestling. It's been long overdue, but honestly, I'm going to just start this off with one thought in mind. I'm getting really sick of these predetermined, like, I don't like the fact that I pretty much know going into any PLE nowadays that I'm only getting 5 matches. Now, I could see a lot of benefits of why I only have, like, but if I know every time, it kind of takes the mystique out of the PLE out of, like, it takes away from the mystique. Especially, you have such a stacked roster to only have it confined to 5 matches. Triple H was asked about representation last night in the press conference, and if you didn't limit your pay-per-view time to those 5 matches, I mean, you have the time. You said so yourself. You do all the production yourself. No one's going to tell you, nah, man, we don't want a good, like, a better wrestling product. Like, oh, more matches? Hell yeah, that's what they're going to tell you. Because it's on a streaming service. No one cares about the runtime. We can pause it. We can come back. But, at that point, for the most part, it takes, here's another reason it takes away from Mysterio, is it's a 5-match card. Cody's a workhorse. Cody's going to want to be on that card. I know that. Gunther, probably going to want to be on that card. So there's 2, well, with the exception of Crown Jewel, which we'll get into later, but that's 2 people already. Then you have both the women's champions. Like, so usually you'll rotate them, but you kind of see where I'm going at. It makes your PLE destination a lot more predictable, which part of the fun of wrestling is, I'll bet it gets, like, y'all did get stale there for a while. Everything was kind of predictable. Let's just move on from that. Like, the whole, like, I'm going to get frustrated thinking about that. Let's move on from 5-match cards. And I'm not saying we can't have them every now and then. Like, I'm just saying, like, rotate between, like, 5 and 7, like, as needed. Like, you have so many great stories going on. You have so much great talent. Use them. Don't be like other people and have a bunch of great talent just sitting at home all the time, collecting a check. Now, I suppose we should get into the show. I was a wee bit, like, the reason I went on that little tangent about the 5-match match cards is I kind of, like, there were matches that I feel were more deserving of being on a PLE titled Bad Blood. Then for sure, like, I love Bayley and Nia's talented. And yeah, there's a little history there, but Pete Dunne and Sheamus would have been a better slot for that part of the card. There's stuff going on with the New Day and the Final Testament that could have been like, and I'm not saying, okay, in the case of if we had to lock a hard 5 in, I think Sheamus and Pete Dunne should have taken me in Bayley's spot. That's just my personal opinion. And again, I'm a Bayley fan. I love Bayley. Nia, however it's pronounced, I don't really care. Like, the point of the matter is, like, she's talented. I have all the respect in the world for her. But for Bad Blood, especially, I do believe it followed immediately after Punk and Drew. I just don't feel it was it. But we'll get into that after we get into Punk and Drew. I had to think on this, and like, it was actually, like, it was closer than I expected on being my favorite match. Like, Punk versus Drew just took it for me. Close second we'll address later on down the line. Like, and I mean very close. Where do I begin? Like, Drew and Punk, the hatred that they can give. Like, it's not even just like, you can feel like that hatred through your screen while they look at each other. Like, these two, like, I love how they took real life animosity and mixed it in to a storyline. Because, let's be real, it's professional wrestling. At the end of the day, they've probably, I won't say go out and had a beer because it's CM Punk, and we all know he don't partake like that, but they've probably had a sit down, heart to heart, ate some pastries, drank some coffee. Like, they may not like each other very much, but they would respect each other enough to work with each other. And because of that, we got this magical Hell in a Cell that I've been hearing a lot of things said, and I would have to agree, as like excluding anything with the words Mick Foley and Undertaker and Hell in a Cell, it is the best out of all of them aside from that. Anyone involving like Undertaker and Mick Foley, like, because when they got in that cage, the things they did to people were just scary. Like, and that was out of sheer pleasure of doing it to them. This was out of just, we hate each other. And that took it to another level that we hadn't seen before that was equally as brutal. Now, I do want to say, though, damn, these guys, these guys literally, like, some of those bumps, I don't know why they, like, those stair shots, the bumps onto the stairs, it just, like, I enjoy a good bout of violence, but some of those made me even cringe. I'm like, man, that would hurt. And, like, I don't care how well you protect yourself, you're going to feel some of that in the morning. So, because of that, thank you both. For me, that was match of the night. Most of the matches were good, like I said. We are seeming to get into a big trope in WWE that I'm not really liking, that you'll start to see a theme of after this match. Punk coming out on top. And, like, honestly, I love how it came out, like, because it wasn't really, like, we never called Punk the best in the world because he was the strongest, excuse me. The man has a great ring IQ. He's a tactician in there. And honestly, this match came down to him just knowing when to move and actually having the energy to move out of a very dangerous situation. But he got the W. And, like, both men were just, like, battered, beaten, bloodied, and Punk tried, but he didn't make it very far down the ramp on his own. But next, let's get into Bailey versus Jax. Honestly, I probably understand. Like, I like the match. Like, it's not that it was a bad match. It's just this was over a title, like, and like title, like everything related to this beef, really related to this title. They tried to go back, like, oh well, at NXT she gave you your first one of your first losses, and like, yeah, that's cool. But as far as Bad Blood goes, that's never like that's the first time you've mentioned that since y'all like had the feud. So it really felt like they were just trying to backpedal that in, like, oh yeah, Bailey beat her in NXT, so that's why we have her on the Bad Blood card. Like, and then she took Bailey's title. Like, and again, like, this wouldn't be a part. I would not be having this conversation with you if we had more than 5 matches on the card. Like, really, there's only like 2, maybe 3 more matches that I feel could have gone on that card well. Actually, honestly, that ladder match from SmackDown, probably, like, we need, like, why can't the new Bloodline, like, compete at the same time, like, all on the PLE like the old one did? Because, like, Jimmy, he's like, well, we'll get into that later, but the point is, they're not the ones. They really just don't help. Like, I'm going to go on a whole tangent once we get to that section. Bear with me. But it was actually for what it was, like, it was actually very intense. It was very good. It's just, I didn't sense vitriol off of either of them. It was more of, I want that, I don't want you to have this. Less of, I want to end you and everything you stand for. Which is, for me, what I feel Bad Blood should be. Like, but all in all, like, here's where my issue came in. Actually, before I get into that, there was a spot where they're fighting in between the referee and they're on the ground. Somehow the ref got in between them. And Nia Jax ends up on the ref. And, like, I just want to say, good on you. Like, you took that like a champ. Like, and, like, it's like, I get nervous that something like that's going to happen to one of these female wrestlers when it's someone, like, giant, like, one of the larger, like, say Omos and something. Like, I don't like, I like that we have female referees and women referees. I just don't like that they're trying to ref sizes. Is like, how are you going to pull certain people apart? Like, at that point, I feel you should go for bodybuilders that want to be refs or on TV. That, like, I need to believe that they can at least try to pull these people apart without being flung across the ring or crushed by these people. But in the women's, it makes more sense. Like, I can understand, like, it's not as, like, the psychology works better for me. It's really what it is. So we get into the ref being down, and then, surprise, surprise, it's Tiffy time. I really, really just, I'm not a fan of the gimmick. Like, and I'm going to take this point in time right now to explain to you. I'm a pro wrestling fan. I understand that these are gimmicks, and these people, there are real people behind the characters. I will criticize the characters. I'm not going to criticize the person that I know nothing about. Now, if they hit a bunch of tabloids, like, stuff starts coming out about them, then I might have something to say about their personal lives. But, like, even at that, like, I don't care about the art. Like I don't care about, like, that kind of stuff. Like, that, the art and the artist's life are separate. Like, I shouldn't be nosing into their life. In, like, there's certain situations, like Vincent McMahon's, where we have to have those kind of conversations. But, like, if someone's having a hard time and, like, going through a divorce, that's not my business. Like, I wish them well. I'm not going to sit here and just be putting that out into the atmosphere. Like, we as fans of anything, and this is part of what I didn't want for Fanspiracy, is we need to start respecting that people give us this. Yes, and like, yes, they're famous. They're still people. Treat them with respect. Like, and if you run up on them in a crowded place or while they're in a rush trying to get somewhere, don't call them a jerk for brushing you off, especially quickly. If they've done it politely and repeatedly, like, "Hey, man, I can't right now. I'm running late." Don't be those people. There are plenty of wrestling fans out there that love these people. There's plenty of acting fans that love them. Like, you need to treat your idols with respect and care. Like, at least you got to interact with them, you can say. Like, "Hey, I didn't get to get a picture. They were in a rush, but they did apologize for not being able to take a picture, and it seemed like they genuinely wanted to, but they were in a rush." Like, and you know what? At that point, seeing that kind of story, your idols, your actors, your favorite wrestlers, your creators of whatever kind would be more inclined to be like, "You know what? I want to find that fan to do something special for him." So, and I don't think you should be doing that just so they want to do something special for you. I'm to say, like, act right and good things happen. That's just the message I'm trying to get to y'all about this. But point being, like, back onto the match, Tiffy comes out, the gimmick that I hate, and acts like she's going to cash it. Well, no, she was very much going to cash it till Jax popped up like she was the Undertaker. Like, "Is that briefcase? Are you handing that to that referee?" And it was an entertaining spot. Like, just because, like, I do love the whole what's going on betrayal looks all the time, and everybody, like, the feigned innocence that Tiffy could pull is just priceless. But that rolls in, and then, like, ultimately, Tiffy's interference played a role. No matter which way it went, it did play a role. I'm not too happy with that. Like, if she was going to be in the match, she should have finalized the fucking briefcase. Here's a briefcase. She could have been like, "Here, ref," and kicked me in the face. Been like, "This is for all the disrespect and the hate that you've been showing me." But nah, that wasn't the case. Jax wins, and, like, that's that. Like, I would have liked Bayley to win, but, like, more importantly, if she was gonna lose, I would have rather she lost clean. Now, I'm gonna, like, I don't care about the order. I'm not sure about the order. I don't remember the order right now. But the next set of matches go to the Terror Twins. And I'm going to go with the one that actually came as a close second of my favorite match. Damian Priest and Finn Balor did way better than I expected. Like, that's saying I expected a lot of shenanigans, which, don't get me wrong, there were shenanigans. But it was concentrated to one point in time, and then it was done with. But honestly, especially with the size difference, they did a great job telling the story. Finn's just viciousness of, "I don't care about anybody," to, "Hey, you might be savvy and agile, but you can't match my power," on Damian's and just throwing Finn around which way he wanted. I loved this match. Like, honestly, when I was deciding when I was committing to a favorite match, I was like it really just came down to, I've seen the brothers turn on brothers before. I haven't seen CM Punk and Drew McIntyre hate each other before, and, like, that just was like, it was beautiful. Now, I loved a lot of this because, like, they did do good about, like, not making it look like just Priest was gonna pump, like, just dog walk Finn, like, because we kind of all expected, but like we like any reasonable people that weren't wrestling fans like us, like, we know it's not the size of the dog in the fight. Societies of the Fight and the Dog. So, and Finn got it. But they did really good about that. Like, Finn used his quickness, and honestly, his skill set is generally well set to dealing with bigger opponents. I gotta give that up. Honestly, if I had to say my favorite moment of that match would be Finn coming off the top. I literally, like, the sound Damien's fist made off his jaw was just wow. Like, and like, I'm excited to see what Damien says tomorrow about whether he's done with them or not. Judgment Day did get involved, but it didn't really matter because Priest is the best out of all. What's the best out of all the males there? Beat them all down, smack them around a little, then put Finn in his place. And see, I like the storytelling of how like Judgment Day had to be involved, but they did it in a way that kept the match with the victory, like a one way, like a clear victor, but it didn't, like, the interference didn't sully it. But my whole issue is I actually should probably wait until I get to the main event to go into that issue. Now, on to Rhea versus Liv, which I actually enjoyed this much a lot, but like, it was just because I couldn't stop laughing because apparently Dom's afraid of heights, which is beautiful. And like, I don't know if he's really afraid of heights. Probably isn't, especially the fact that they had him hanging from that cell. But it was pretty funny to see him, like, his facial expressions. Like, say what you want about Dominic Mysterio, the man is good in his role. He is, like, he's a talented wrestler, but he's actually a real good actor. Like, he makes you, like, his facial expressions made that whole match for me. Like, and here's why this didn't get mad. Like, really what I loved about this match was Dominic Mysterio. Like, Dominic Mysterio made a match for me first time in history. Now, he ends up hanging out of the cage. Like, I'm not going to go into the details of the match. I remember Dom from this match, which is a problem. I shouldn't be remembering Dom in women's title matches at all. So there is that. But the whole, he was hanging outside the cage and about to be beat. He was being beat like a pinata. And then, like, when it looked like Rhea was done to go finish with Liv. And this one breaks my heart. And it's because Raquel's actually from down the street from where I am. And like, that, they're like, we come from the same type of unit. Like, also, I don't want, like, the big thing I have about Raquel returning and to help Liv is I don't want Raquel as a heel. It's not viable to me. Like, it really does depend on how they handle these next couple of weeks, I guess. But even in just last night, it just seemed awkward. Like, it seemed disingenuous. Like, it's not where I wanted them to go. Like, though, aside from that, I'm ecstatic that she's back. She is one of my favorite on the women's roster. We'll see how this heel run goes, is all I can say. Yeah, and Liv kept the title. But that brings us to the main event. And this will talk a wee bit about the structure, and we might go into a bit of the spots of the match and some of the psychology, talk about certain things involved, like, of the match that I felt. First things first, Bloodline entering first, obvious. The champion entering before Roman Reigns, I don't like. And here's my thing, like, I'm a Cody crybaby. Fuck off if you don't. I really don't care your opinion. I think that the biggest failure of the last, what was it, 6 months or so since WrestleMania, I believe. Cody should not be a prop for the damn Bloodline story. Like, you botched the Bloodline story, and like no one can tell me they didn't. There is no reason. Like, want to know how you know? Okay. See, this gets me. I'm angry about this, so now like my thought streams are like there's so much wrong with Cody and the Bloodline right now that it all comes flooding. So give me a second to woosah. First things first, Cody hasn't had a serious feud since he's been champ. They quite literally held him off of that to keep him free to have a Solo versus Roman, or Solo versus Cody match for Roman's return. Mind you, they could have gone somewhere way better for that. Have a number one contenders match on a PLE for a change. It's been a while since we've done that, I know. Aside, they really haven't established Solo as shit. Like, yeah, the Bloodlines won some tag matches. I don't give a damn. Like, Solo really hasn't won many singles matches. Why did he get a shot at Cody? Like, it's the Bloodline. No, it's the bootleg Bloodline. Like, really, 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 really don't like. The issue is they thrusted a title upon Solo, and like I can get getting the title, but they didn't send it. He didn't seem to have the hunger to prove that he deserved the title. He wasn't really out there grinding, like just being a menace on his own. He needed other people to be a menace. Roman was a menace, then he got his family. And ultimately, if you're just going to be a Wish version of Roman, we don't need you. Like, Solo is not that, like, the only reason this has somewhat worked for Solo is because no one has faith in him as a heel, and we all just hate seeing him on TV in this spot. Like, if he was in any other spot, probably wouldn't, like, we would probably start gaining interest in him and start believing he could be in this role. But this guy's been on the main roster like twice and really hasn't done, for 2 years now, and really hasn't, like, yeah, he beat John Cena, but in the last 5 years, who hasn't beat John Cena? Love you, John. Not trying to beat on you, just pointing out a fact. There is, like, I feel they could have really, like, especially with what they have for Bloodline 2.0, they could have really built up something that I think could have been more terrifying than the original Bloodline. But I think they pulled the trigger too quickly with the whole, like, let's do everything at SummerSlam. Let's do it at the next big PLE. I think that this was something that could have benefited from more of a slow burn build-up before Solo decided to set his eyes on the title. And it would have also meant Cody wouldn't be a prop in their damn story. Like, because that's all he really is at this point. And it hurts, because we got him to finish the story, and, like, did he finish the story just to be a prop in somebody else's story? Like, we could have done something really magical with AJ versus Cody. We could have done something, like, there are tons of people on the SmackDown roster that magical stuff could have been done with. The Raw roster, I mean, with Randy going over and challenging on Raw, like, why couldn't somebody come and challenge Cody? There were better, like, there was ways to cement Cody's title run that I feel they missed. And another point of this, like, another piece of evidence of this is he came in before Roman. Roman's not the champion anymore. He's not like, right now, he doesn't even have, like, he just got Jimmy back, who okay, from now on, it is now Jimmy Cricket, because that man's Roman's conscience. Can't tell me otherwise. But, long story short, I don't like that they're doing, like, the Bloodline, like, the whole point of, like, why I felt it was a good thing for Roman to lose and go away for a while. The Bloodline story hasn't needed the title for a while. It really hasn't. Like, at that point, it would have made sense for the new Bloodline. I don't want the title. I'm going to control who holds the titles, though. Like, it doesn't have to be blood, but they'll answer to me. Like, I just feel like this whole past year of Bloodline Cody stuff has been missed opportunities. First, love and respect everybody in there. They do great things for my entertainment, and so I and I am talking shit, but it is what it is. Getting into the match, I love how they have the little heat about who's gonna start, and it's a little bit of a tiff. Starts pretty basic, but I don't necessarily. Okay, if it was a handicap match against Jacob Fatu, I could see it, but Cody's already dog walked Solo a couple of times. I do believe he handed him his first actual loss on the main roster. It's to see them just utterly beating the dog shit out of both Cody and Roman for a prolonged period of time. So I just can't sell into that too much. It's not too believable for me. However, there is fast forward through everything. There's a lot of eventually the Tongans show up. I can't remember if this is before or after. I do love that Cody was the one to put Jacob down for the match. That was a definite need. Didn't know Cody had that kind of air in him. Kudos to him. Just another reason the man's invited to the barbecue, I guess. Can ball with us. But we go up onto the whole getting the finish. You have the Tongans come in and here's where I'm going. Okay, now that we have this, I'm going to go into something that just irritates the ever living hell out. Notice that the only match that did not have outside interference was literally in a cage. Every match, the decision, no matter whether you believe the outcome would have been the same or different for any of these matches, it was altered the moment all these people came out. On top of that, does 80% of the card need interference in the match? Once is fine. Twice, okay. 3, that's too much, Ari. 4, what the hell, Trips? Get it together. Lazy booking right there. Oh, well, we don't, you can't tell a cohesive story without outside interference? Is that it? But back onto the thing. The Tongans come in. Solo gets control of Roman. That is until he sees a hooded figure with a black bandana on his face. And, then the Tongans turn around and they eat super kicks. Off comes the hoodie and bandana, and we see Jimmy the Cricket Uso. Jimmy the Cricket Uso then goes up and at that point, Solo shook and gets speared by Roman. 1, 2, 3, match over. They sit here, get in there, and Roman's what and he's no, I'm with you. Jimmy's just saying hey, and I love Jimmy's shirt. They not the ones, because they ain't. And what I really like about this is it's been said by a couple of people that this is solidifying Roman as a babyface. I'm still thinking he's a tweener, and Jimmy, because they walk out, they're going down the stage. Cody gets jumped by bootleg Bloodline, and Jimmy's yo, Oos, we gotta go help him. You gave your word. And Roman's but that's done. And no, it's not done till the night's over. We didn't all make it back to the back. It's not done yet. And then they go and clear house. And it was a great moment. I'm enjoying the begrudging, not friendship, but respect and mutual hatred of bootleg Bloodline. And it was all ruined by Dwayne Johnson's big dumbass. Great entertainer, shitty actor, mediocre wrestler, in my opinion. And probably one of the most disingenuous human beings that I've ever seen. I've never seen an actual human moment from him. It irks me. I've seen humanity from every other kind of even when he's doing like trying to raise stuff for charity, it just seems disingenuous. Like I may be wrong. It just could be that he is gimmicked up all the time, and like he may very well be a very great guy. It's just he seems so baked. So that was the show. All in all, like really, I enjoyed like I enjoyed a lot of it. Like I said, the finishes I feel got lazy. Like okay, the only one I really feel needed that benefited from the interference was the Bloodline. Like that's the only one that needed like we needed to get Jimmy back. Raquel could have came back on TV. I love Raquel, but was not needed. If this is finally setting Tiffy and Jax on the warpath, let it go. You're like, okay, I'll let it go. Judgment Day, I get it. But really, at that point, if any of them needed interference, it was like Priest and Finn and the main event. Those were the only two that should have had interference. The other two, I feel it took away from the integrity of the card. Now, after this, there is a bunch of if you follow on social media, like I knew The Rock was coming out before it showed up on screen because he went live, and I'm like, oh crap, The Rock's at the show. They sit here and go into the he also goes has clips uploaded afterwards of him throwing a temper tantrum, walking out the back, and that goes up. It pretty much goes up to the show. I'm not going to cover much of the. I'm not going to get into the post show, but you'll probably actually see this later this evening. Like, it's early afternoon right now. So until next time, love, peace, and chicken grease.